Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in, and I happen to have Dustin Auxier here with me now. We're going to talk a little bit about his game, The Enchanted Cave, that was recently released for Android. Dustin, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for playing the game.
No problem. It was actually quite fun, and it's a product of a self-taught programmer, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So, what kind of prompted you along the path of and to programming?
I started out, I think, just fiddling around with a RPG Maker program, and this was when I was in high school, like junior, senior of high school. I was just looking at the scripts in RPG Maker there and just changing around numbers and stuff. I had no idea what I was doing. At that point, I was more into art with games, but I was just changing around like colors, sizes, and stuff. And eventually, I got to the point where I could make a pretty decent custom script stuff. And I ended up making a custom battle system, changing the battle system around and making it more of an active type battle system. If you played some old RPGs, uh, so that taught me the basics of looping and a lot of the essential fundamentals of programming. So with that in mind, later on, probably like freshman year of college ish, and a little before, I started the Enchanted Cave with Flash because I read that it was really good for starting out, and I just wanted to get my foot in the door. And it was really easy to just make a Flash game and throw it up online, and people can see it for free. So that's what I went with. It really spread to a ton of sites. I was incredibly amazed when I released it, and I got such good response from it.
What was the sort of play rate or
The play count, which is, I guess, however many times somebody loads a page, Congregate has the most, I believe, with it's almost at 3 million currently. It's been out like 4 years ish. Armor Games has it, and it's like 500,000 something, and a few other sites. I think those are might be the highest numbers, but there's countless of other sites that have tens of thousands of views each.
wow, those are some really impressive figures. Of course, the Enchanted Cave, you've just recently ported it to Android as well as to iOS.
Mm-hmm.
And on your main site, there's a very charming blog post about the challenges of porting the Enchanted Cave. And I encourage anybody who listens to this to go over. I'll leave a link in the description to go and read that. But are there any, a sort of little brief taste of that information that you can give us now?
The biggest challenge with the port was adapting the game for touchscreen because the Flash game dimensions were 550 by 400, which on a desktop screen is takes up a really small area. I was able to like cram like all of the UI that you would ever need on the screen at the same time. Where when you shrink that down to a touch screen, your phone, it's the screen size itself, the resolution's fine, but the screen size is so tiny that it's just that method wasn't going to work at all. So I had to completely scrap all of the UI and build that from the ground up with
Mhm.
smaller screens in mind.
Was it more difficult, would you say, to port it to iOS or port it to Android?
Well, since the game was originally in Flash, I was able to port it with Adobe Air, which creates like an executable you can play on desktops, and it's great for mobile. So essentially, the game is the same exact thing that just runs through that Adobe Air on both Android and iOS. However, the publishing aspect is incredibly different between the two. With the Google Play Store, it's super easy. You just throw your game up, and in a couple hours, you just like fill in the pricing and stuff. In a couple hours, it's live. With iOS, you gotta go through your developer profile and fill out certificates and distribution stuff and pay them $99 a year and a lot of stuff. And then your app's in waiting for approval for a week, so they'll approve it after a week, and then your app's live.
Would you say that you've had better reception on iOS or Android, or is it about the same for both platforms so far?
Currently, I think Android's been out 2.5 weeks or something, and then it came out like a week later, so it's a little lower. But I think a lot of more people are currently talking about the Android version, so it's showing a lot better sales currently. Just nobody, I haven't seen many people talk about the iOS version, but it's the same game, so maybe they'll pick it up later.
One addition that I loved was the sell all the junk button.
Yes, that was actually one of the top-rated comments on the game on Congregate. Somebody's like, it needs a sell all button. That, and along with several other comments, those were just like people that say, hey, this would be super nice, and I'm like, yeah, that would be really nice to have, so I'll put that in the port. If you have like 30 pieces of junk, it shrinks down 30-some clicks to 2 clicks. You can sell it all.
Well, let's turn now to what the future holds. You're planning on a game, The Enchanted Cave 2, right?
That's right. It has been mostly planned for a couple of years, but I just haven't had the time. I've been in school, and I've only recently got out of school, so now I'm working full time. So it's just a time thing. Hadn't got around to it, but I really want to.
About when do you hope to expect your Kickstarter for The Enchanted Cave 2?
I would hope sometime this month of February. Most of my work is weeknights if I'm feeling up to it after work, or weekends. So it's not that many hours really. So hopefully, I mean, I feel like I'm close, but once I get to really putting everything together, it might drag on a little bit because I want it to look good when I start it. So I will say that definitely the type of games I play is kind of like the more traditional model, where if you buy the game for a couple bucks, then that's the whole game. So I will say that for my foreseeable future, every game I'm going to make is going to be straight up, you pay $5 or $10, whatever the game is, and that's the full game. So you have that guarantee.
Well, thanks, Dustin. I sure appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time, and I'd encourage anybody to go check out The Enchanted Cave 1, buy it, help support Dustin and his efforts, and when the Kickstarter for The Enchanted Cave 2 comes out, if it's anything like The Enchanted Cave 1, it'll be well worth your time and donations. So, Dustin, thanks.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed, and if you have, a comment or a like would be most appreciated. It's your feedback that lets me know how to best allocate my time in the things that you want to see. If you click on any of the links around here, you'll be taken to a playlist with more of that particular brand of madness. And be sure to subscribe so that you can always be the first to know when I have some new content out. Thanks again, and see you around.